What's up, everybody? Welcome to this week's episode of NKU Sports Break. I am so excited to be joined by track and field as well as cross-country coach Steve Kruse for our Notable Norse series. Steve, how's your day going?
It's going great. We just had practice and the sun is out. And
you've got some sunshine today.
That's a great day for us.
Absolutely. And so you have seen it all in your time with cross country and track and field, from budget cuts and program terminations that resulted in your transfer as a student to the rise of a Division I track, field, and cross country programs. So tell us about your experience through all of it.
It's been a journey, I'll tell you. Coming to NKU back in the 70s was an easy choice for me. It was a growing school. At that time, Coach Aslan and myself graduated from Oak Hills High School and both came over. At that time, it was actually a smaller campus than our high school was. And it was a lot of fun, but I came here primarily because one of my teammates in high school the year before was here. He's my best friend. He was the best man in my wedding. I was the best man in his wedding, Tom Ash, if he's out there watching. Hi to Tom. But it was just a great opportunity for me at the time, and I was able to stay close to home and compete at a very high level. At that point, we had a young but very talented team. So that was my baseline, being on a nationally ranked team, starting off as a freshman. You kind of get used to a certain world. And again, the disappointment a couple years later when they had the budget cuts that, half the sports were shown the door at that point, and it forced me to transfer to Cincinnati, which was, again, that was another opportunity at a Division I level, and with a brand new coach who I ended up learning a lot from. Had no intention of really being a coach at that point. I was going in a completely different direction with my academics, and it's just when Northern brought their programs back in the mid 80s, and then needed a coach in the early 90s. It was a very interesting transition for me from what I was currently doing to what I wanted to do, and I got permission from my wife to pursue a life in coaching. And
you were a part of the design process for NKU's cross-country course, Valhalla. What does that look like? I have absolutely no idea. Fill us in.
Valhalla was a long time coming. In the early 2000s, the farm property, as it's known by those who've been around NKU, just the farm, there were several houses back there, and the university had the opportunity to start buying up some of the property. So little by little, we had some avenues in which we could train on the grass, and it was a lot of fun. But there wasn't a whole lot of space. As we got into 2005, 06, and 2010, more space became available, and it became apparent that we could utilize that space to train and perhaps someday have a meet. So it was a very long process. It could not happen without our maintenance department, who were just wonderful to work with. I get a lot of the credit, but I go back there and just look at it, and I have some ideas, and I throw it to our maintenance division, and they make it happen. And it is a really, really wonderful relationship that I have with the gang that works back there. And I can't say enough about all the hard work, the trails they've developed, and keeping the area mowed for us to work out on, and keeping the area picturesque for us to have meets on. So no meets this past year because of COVID, and don't know what's going to happen moving forward, but we're looking very, very, very forward to getting out there again and having some competitions.
It takes an absolute village to keep a program running and running as successfully as NKU has. And it was because of that success that they were able to transition from D2 to our now Division I program. Were there any athletes that stood out to you that really kind of helped NKU get the attention they deserve to prove that they could compete at the Division I level?
You know, that's I don't know that I can condense that answer into the time that we have. There were so many things that went into that beyond me or my sport. You know, the Nancy Winstall, Kenny Shields era with basketball, the Bill Aker era with baseball. Those coaches did miracles. And they brought Northern Kentucky University to a national class Division II and could easily compete at the Division I level. When I was there in 79 and 80, most of the women's sports, it was all one division. It wasn't really split up in any divisions. All the colleges pretty much played in the same division. And Jane Meyer did a phenomenal job with the volleyball, and then eventually being the athletic director and to guide all those sports to success in the GLVC. I was just happy to tag along at that point. I was happy to be part of the department, but I learned so much from all the wonderful coaches and from Jane certainly, as far as how to run a program. So the first 10 years I was there, it was pretty much learning and trying to get more for my program, more financing, more scholarship money. And eventually it came. Now for student athletes, you know, we had some great student athletes who believed in us. We were very much local, mostly the Northern Kentucky area. And, you know, they took a chance on us and they came to Northern. We had a good program. We were building at the time, and we had a lot of fun. So once we started getting a little bit more competitive, I would say around 2005, 2006, when we actually made the national meet, that was a turning point for us. It's a number of things that happened, kind of a perfect storm. But it was certainly in the hands of our student athletes. When you have Zach Kaler, Keith Knapp, Matthew Schulte, and I know I'm going to forget a whole bunch of other guys, but Brad Bullock, who got an all-conference nod back in '06, and the rest just happened. 07 we qualified again. And I think it was '07 where we had every team at Northern Kentucky had either an individual or the team was represented at the Division II national championships. That just doesn't happen unless you're at Grand Valley State or some of the big time schools in Division II. And at that point, they were deep into looking at Division I. And the only thing that was holding us back was facilities. And that's where the BB&T arena comes into play, and that's where the soccer facility comes into play. Had we wanted to stay Division II, it would have been a while before we got those, world-class type of facilities. But then we switched over to Division I, and we're not getting in the NCAAs anymore. But it is something. It's a bar we were used to clearing, and we want to get to that point again. Every one of the coaches very passionate about what we do at Northern, and very passionate about giving the student athletes the best that we can possibly give them within our power. So.
Yes, sir. And you talked about all of the people you had learned from and the tools you kind of added to your belt over this time, and really giving athletes the best experience they can. None of that prepares you for a pandemic. What does life look like these days during COVID? How's the team doing? And what are you guys looking forward to now that you can actually compete again?
I'll tell you, this pandemic has really reflected on the character of all the student athletes at NKU. it's been a challenge for the coaches, but you know, the coaches generally, we don't have a window that's closing on us. The student athletes do. They have a very limited time frame in which to get done what they need to get done. And I don't know that I would have handled it as well being a student athlete as the athletes that we have on our team. They've been resilient with a capital R. They had their, our track athletes had their spring taken away from them, as all the other spring athletes did. And they were anxious to start again, but at the same time, they understood it wasn't an ideal situation, but there was nothing that could be done about it. They continued to train hard over the summer. They came back in the fall, anxiously waiting that point where we could compete again, and it didn't happen, but they stayed with it. And that's what's so exciting about opening up in 4 days, is that these athletes have stuck with their training. They've taken pride in what they do. They take pride in wearing the NKU uniform, and they are very excited to get back out there and mix it up. And it's about to happen for us. And again, today, the blue skies, the calmer weather we had, was a great workout, and they're all smiles and laughs after the workout. Everyone's excited to be at the threshold of 2021, a great season that promises to be a great year for us.
Coach, we wish you the absolute best of luck this season as all of your athletes take on the opportunity to compete again. Everyone make sure to check out NKU Norse on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, as well as all of our track and field and cross country content that's out there. And we will see you all next week. Thank you, Coach.
Thank you for the opportunity. Really appreciate it coming on with you.